Hello peoples! In today's video we are in the Gladius and we're taking a look at some of the best weapons you can use in 3.14 for this ship. We are specifically looking at the guns, but we will also be using some different missiles and rocket pods as well. I've got 3 builds for you to look at using energy repeaters, cannons, and scatterguns. We'll also take a look at both a mono build and a mixed weapons configuration to see if we can find the best combo for the current patch. The Oracle link for each of these builds is in the video description below. If you like what you see in the video, then check it out, give it a try in-game. Come back, leave a comment or two, let me know what you like, what you didn't, all that good stuff so that other people can learn from your experience, not just mine. And if you enjoy this content, then please hit that like button, the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. One last thing. If you would like to win a free 325A, then at the end of this video you'll find a link to another video that will show you how to enter my giveaway. If you're curious as to how the 325A handles in a bounty hunting mission, just go ahead and look at the video on my channel. Okay, before we get to it, make sure that you have a tasty beverage and a snack. This one's a little longer than normal, so I would suggest popcorn. Sit back, relax, and let's see how we do. So first up we have a mono laser repeater build. So all size 3 fixed weapons. They're going to be NDB 30 laser repeaters. You can use any laser repeater because they all have the same stats, so if you want to use attritions, go right ahead. It's going to give you the same result. We're also going to use Spark size 1 missiles. As per my usual engagement rules, I'm going to open up with the missiles like you just saw there, and then I'm going to follow up and get into a gunfight with this Valkyrie. Now, you'll notice that all 3 of my NDB laser repeaters are in the same weapons group. I have not really found any kind of advantage at putting laser repeaters into different groups given their high rate of fire and the low individual DPS that each of the rounds does. So I usually just put them in the same group and go to town. You're going to see that our shields take a little bit of damage because of the other 2 adds that we have shooting at us, and the fact that the Valkyrie has, turreted guns and can get a hit on you even when they are facing away from you. But what we're going to do is just break away a little bit, let our shields recharge, and then re-engage. Now, I don't know why, but the laser repeaters seem to just synergize really well with the Gladius. As you can see, didn't take too long. We were able to take out that Valkyrie, and Valkyries are usually pretty tough. They're good bullet sponges. We're not going to go to work on the Buccaneer. Pretty maneuverable fighter, but kind of an eggshell. We got a little bit of a desync issue that you just saw there. But with the laser repeaters, we can definitely keep a high rate of fire on even a light fighter like the Buccaneer. So as you saw, not too much of a problem dispatching him. We're now going to go after the Hornet, which is next on the list. Now, Hornets, they're not exactly the best dogfighter right now in this patch. It's a medium fighter. They can take a little bit more damage than something like the Gladius, but with the speed, maneuverability, and the hitting power of the 3 laser repeaters, the Gladius is more than a match for it. Now, I'm sure you all know, if you've been watching my videos, I'm a cannon guy. I like cannons because of the hard-hitting nature of them. But as we just dispatched the last target in our VHR mission, it's not lost on me that those repeaters did a pretty good job and did it quickly. So, on to the next build. We have now swapped out our repeaters for cannons. Now this is what I'm talking about, right? So we have 2 Omnisky laser cannons, 1 under each wing, and a Tarantula ballistic cannon on the nose. All are size 3 fixed. We've swapped out our missiles so that we have Dominator 2s. These are size 2 missiles. They hit a little bit harder, but you can only carry half as much. So we're looking at a total of 8 missiles as opposed to 16. And as you can see, when we fire off our missile strike at the beginning, I'm only going to do 1 missile at a time because 3.14, they have a tendency to miss a lot. But as you can see, we've hit with all 3 of them, which is really interesting. Maybe I should switch over to electromagnetic missiles. As you can see, the shields are now down on the Valkyrie. We're going to fire basically all our weapons while we have the opportunity, try to do as much damage as possible, and press our attack. Now, as we pound away with the cannons on this Valkyrie, I'd like to point out the time to kill here. It's relatively short. If we remember using the laser repeaters there, we had to work on this Valkyrie a little bit more, I think. Just a hair, a little bit longer than needed with the cannons here, because I've already chewed into the hull, and as you can see, he's gone. That was pretty quick. We are going to get some distance and allow our shields to recharge, because now we're going to go after 2 Buccaneers, which are the escorts or adds that came in to the mission. So with the Valkyrie dispatch, now I'm going to show you how to deal with multiple targets or more maneuverable targets. So we use the opportunity to get our shield strength up. So I've put my shield up to 100%. I'm boosting away in one direction, trying to get some distance. And I've used this technique before, specifically when using a larger ship versus a smaller ship, but you can do this when you're dealing with multiple opponents. What we're going to do is decouple. That's going to allow me to continue to move in one direction. I'm going to spin around, basically point my nose backwards, and I'm going to lock on to the first target. Now I want you to pay attention to these two buccaneers. Notice that they can no longer pass me in their jousting. Now, hats off to 314. The AI's gotten a little bit smarter here. They're actually cycling their attacks back and forth. One will come in on me, then bank away. The second one will then come in and charge while the first one is banking away. It's great. I love this kind of stuff. However, if I was in a more traditional dogfight right now where I was trying to follow one, that would allow the second one to get behind me and basically tear me up while it's on my 6. We're preventing that by doing this. Now, to illustrate this a little bit more, what we're going to do is we're going to transition from this kind of like, I guess you could call it trailing dogfight, where I'm forcing them to be behind me while I keep my nose on them, to a more traditional dogfight here where I'm no longer decoupled and I'm going to engage in what would be considered a normal trailing attack mode. Of course, I got to dodge the missiles here, but it's going to end up being a lot more jousty. So as you can see, the Buccaneers are able to joust past me, and while I'm dealing with one, that's allowing the second target to basically get behind me and shoot me from the rear. Now, in the case of the Gladius, that's not really going to work too well because as you can see, we get a really good line on one target. We're able to fire all our weapons off, basically take it out because a Buccaneer's a flying eggshell. And now it's a 1 versus 1 fight instead of a 1 versus 2 fight. So the odds definitely in my favor here. And what I'm going to do is just continue to joust and whittle this Drake's shields down and then eventually take them out like normal. So for anyone that's having, issues with the VHRT missions where they're getting swarmed by multiple bandits, try that decouple maneuver. It'll probably help you out a lot. So here's another good example of the desync issue that we have. Here we've got a perfect shot. This should be a kill shot. And the Buccaneer magically teleports behind me because Drake has teleportation devices now. Nope, obviously not. Unfortunately, due to desync, the Buccaneer was not where he was supposed to be. He was actually behind me, which I find interesting. Now, for people that like to think that repeaters help with desync, that example right there shows that it doesn't matter if you had cannons like I'm using now. If you had repeaters, all the rounds miss. They miss from both types of guns because the target's not even in the front. So here we correct the situation by getting a really good bead on the target and taking it out. And that's pretty much going to end it for this weapons group. So what do you think? Was the time to kill faster or longer than using the repeaters? I don't know. Kind of a tie in my book. Next build here, we're going to use rocket pods. So as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of rocket pods set up instead of missiles. I am using a Predator scatter gun. That's a ballistic gun, and I have it in the same weapons group as my rocket pods so that I can get insane alpha damage. And I have PyroBurst laser scatter guns on the wings. Now, this is the type of build that I like to run on the Arrow. The Arrow has the agility to really pull this build off, and I'm testing to see if the Gladius can do the same thing. So we have our first target, which is a great target to be using this on in the form of a Valkyrie. And I'm going to show you a couple things not to do with scatterguns. So notice my distance here is 700 meters, and I'm firing my scatterguns. Absolutely no damage. That's because I'm used to the range of the cannons. I did this right after it. You got to remember that the scatterguns are only going to be effective if you get within 400 meters of your target. So keep that in the back of your mind. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the scatterguns, particularly the laser ones first. That's why they're in a separate group. We're going to whittle down the shields on the Valkyrie, and only after we've taken the shields down are we going to fire our ballistics, as we are here. So as you can see, we've got the shields down, we got a really good lead on it, and it only took a couple hits with both the rocket pods and that ballistic scatter gun to do some serious damage and take the Valkyrie out. So now we're going to apply these scatter guns against a much more maneuverable target like the Drake Buccaneer. Now you might be thinking the Drake Buccaneer, well, he might give me a real run for my money because of his maneuverability. Well, no. As you can see, due to the insane alpha damage that this build can produce, that Buccaneer was deleted before it could even get moving. So now we're going to move on to a Cutlass Black. This is a nice juicy target, I think, for this kind of build because the Cutlass is not very maneuverable. It's kind of big, and as you're going to see, we're going to use our energy scatter guns first to just whittle down the shields. We're going to end up probably swapping our pip right here to a lag pip to make sure that we hit with those ballistic rockets that we're going to be firing. And as you can see, they're just punishing this guy. They're hitting him so hard that only 3 or 4 hits and he's done. So I'm going to definitely say that the scattergun build on the Gladius is worth checking out. However, be advised that it is not as easy to use as when using an arrow. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. That was a pretty quick VHRT mission using the scatterguns. Let me know which one you thought had the quicker time to kill. I definitely think that the Gladius kind of synergizes more with the laser repeater build, but this scattergun build is pretty powerful. It just does insane DPS for an alpha strike. You will find the links to Urkel in the video description below. You'll also find a referral code, so if you're new to Star Citizen, you want to try it out, use that referral code, you'll get 5,000 free UEC. As always, till next time, take care.